Hello, everyone. My name is Maria, Sister Maria. Pastor House asked me if I will be willing to share some testimonies with you for my several trips to Africa. I've already prayed to God and asked Him to guide my tongue and my heart as I share with you, as I was preparing and sharing these testimonies with you. But before I start with Africa, there is one testimony. Well, I should say two. There are two testimonies that I would like to share before starting with Africa. I don't want to be shy about sharing my testimonies because it is to glorify the Lord. You know, everyone's story of coming to Christ is unique, and that is what makes it so special. This first testimony is about when I got baptized, when I became a Christian. The afternoon of my baptism, you know how it is when you get baptized, you're just on fire and you're just so excited. So the church had meetings in the afternoon, so I decided to go back to church. I had my two children in the back seat on my way back in that afternoon, and somehow, I don't know what happened, my car stopped. When I got to a light, the light was red and I stopped. And when it was time for me to go, I couldn't go. The car just died. And it was kind of drizzling a little bit. It wasn't raining hard, but it was drizzling a little. So I just put on my emergency light on, and I didn't know what to do. And I was blocking traffic. I don't think I even prayed. I was just, shocked that, oh, I just got baptized today, and then now look what happened. So I think the devil was kind of getting me to be discouraged. Anyhow, I don't know what happened. As I was sitting there, there was a little white car. You know, those are the things you see on movies. There was a little white car that came with a flashing light to the upper left side of the driver. And then it's like the guy says, pop your hood. So I just pull the thing, and he opened up the hood. I don't know what he did, because I really could not see him. I don't know what he did. But the funny thing is, I didn't have cell phone. That was in the I would say late 80s, 86, I believe. Yes, that's when I got baptized, 86. And I don't know what he did. And then he said, crank your car. I heard him say that. And then I just cranked the car, and the car was cranked. And next thing I know, he closed the hood, and then he took off. I could not remember his face, but I know he had a white shirt on. That's what I remember. He was wearing a white shirt. And the guy took off, and I don't know if he went left, if he went right. I was so excited. I just went on my way, went to church, and forgot about it. But sometimes that will come back to me. How could that happen when I didn't call anyone? I didn't have a cell phone at that time. It was years later when I was sitting in church, and Sabbath school was about angels. And I remember that incident. And I was sharing that with the class. And then that's when it came to me that was an angel. The Lord sent an angel to strengthen me, to give me courage, because you remember I just got baptized that day, and to let me know that he was with me. I can never forget that story. because God is with us even when we don't call him, but he sees our needs and then he intervenes. He comes through for us. There is a book written by Ellen G. White, Desire of Ages, page 347, and it reads, our confession of his faithfulness, which is, God's faithfulness, is heaven's chosen agency for revealing Christ to the world. We ought to acknowledge his grace as made known through the holy men of old, but that which will be most effectual is the testimony of our own experience. We are witnesses for God as we reveal in ourselves the working of a power that is divine. And, it is true from the Bible, the testimonies of many of God's people, how the Lord intervened in their lives, as a nation and as individual persons, how the Lord intervened. And we have friends and families, they can tell us stories and stories. And we know those are miracles of the Lord. But when it is your own testimonies, it makes a big difference. Because the same God who intervened back then can do the same thing for us today. So this is one testimony that I really wanted to share. I wanted it to be number one, to encourage all of you to know that sometimes we may not even pray for things, but the Lord intervenes and work things out. So I just want to thank him and praise him for that. And the second testimony that I would like to share before going into the Africa journey is about the earthquake that took place in Haiti back in 2010, January 2010. And I know many of you are aware of what happened. There were about 330,000 people that lost their lives in that earthquake. I was not living in Haiti. I traveled to Haiti on January 1st, and I was supposed to return January 14th, that Thursday. And the earthquake took place on Tuesday, 10th, January 10th. Yes. So I was supposed to travel back to the state 2 days later after the earthquake, but not knowing there was going to be an earthquake. It so happened on that day of the earthquake, I went to visit a church. In case you didn't know that, in Haiti, they do have different days of fasting where people can go to church and pray all day or half a day and all that. So that particular day, there was a young lady who went with me, because I'm not really, at that time, I didn't really know all the places in Haiti and the capital. I traveled to the capital. And then she went with me to church for half-day prayer. We went at 6 in the morning, 12 o'clock, we were out. But that particular day, I wanted to visit the hospital, the general hospital, to go and pray with people and encourage them. Because I was to travel back on Thursday, so that Tuesday we went together. So she took me to the hospital, but somehow they would not let us in. When we got to the gate of the hospital, there was a security guard, and he refused us to get in. And we could not understand why he was doing that. But everyone else was able to get in. And finally, there was a man standing there. The man says, but why don't you just come back on Sunday? Because on Sunday, they let everybody in. In my heart, I know on Sunday, I will be already back to the state. So when the man says that, I didn't say anything. So I just, we decided we were going to go back home. So I went back she and I went back home. On our way back, we got home by, I would say, an hour before the earthquake took place. Needless to let you know that I didn't know what was happening because I was never in an earthquake before. The house was a big house, 2-story house, about 12 rooms. The house was shaking. The house was shaking. Oh, I forgot to tell you also, the reason why I went to Haiti is because my mom was sick. She traveled on vacation for 6 months because after she retired, she will go back and forth. And then she got sick while she was there. So they called me, so I went to check on her. So that's how I was there at that time. And so an hour before the earthquake, we got home. The young lady and I got home. And then I was packing my clothes. I had a suitcase on the bed, and I was getting my clothing from the closet, put them in the suitcase because I was traveling back that Thursday. It's like God tells me, go back and sit by your mother. So I left the bedroom and went sitting by my mom and talking with her and letting her know, I was leaving. Please don't eat this, don't eat that, take care of yourself, and blah, blah, blah. As I was sitting by her, next thing I know, there was this big explosion, and things were falling down. The walls were moving back and forth, left and right, front and back. I was screaming, Jesus, and Jesus. I stood up, and things were falling, and the fridge came down, the ceiling came down on the other side of the living room. There were, the house was a 2-story house. There were people living downstairs, but those were renters. So the house would not stay empty. Those were renters downstairs. We didn't really know them, but they were renters who lived downstairs. And then I was screaming and calling on Jesus. To make a long story short, the whole house came down. The whole ceiling came down, all on one side, except for the little area where me and my mother were. The young lady who went to church with me, she had already left and went outside to do something, so she was not inside. There was a servant who was supposed to be cooking for my mom, taking care of her. When she saw the house shaking, she ran, she got on the stairs and went downstairs. So it was only my mother and myself. Sisters and brothers, by the time the earthquake was over, and I could not see inside because it was all white, with it's not smoke, with sand, like bricks, everything collapsed. And I was just screaming, and I kind of kneeled down because the roof where we were came down so low over our heads. God only left a little ceiling over our head to protect us. There were no doors, there were nothing to come out. And I saw there was a big hole. I said, Mom, let us get out before the house totally collapsed on us. Then I kind of held her hand. We kind of crawled down and got out. There were 5 dead people downstairs in the same house where I was. There were 330,000 people that lost their lives with that earthquake. I'm no better than any of these people, but the Lord protected me. He kept me alive so that I could share this testimony with you today. I just praise him and honor him, and I know he kept me alive because he needed me to do a work for him. I praise him and I honor him. As I'm talking to you now, it's like I have goosebumps just by talking about what happened 11 years ago, basically 12 years ago. My time is expired on this video, on this audio, and I have to stop. God bless you, and I will come back.